things into two categories. We're going to put them into category A, which is energy in, and category B, which is energy out. So I'm going to bring up the whiteboard here. And hopefully everybody can see the whiteboard now, I think. It might take a second to adjust at your place. We're going to use the whiteboard for our discussion. I'm going to create a little graph here, a little table. Pardon my artistic talents. And basically I'm going to ask some questions and I'm going to have you guys help me out here. We're going to decide what throughout our day is energy in and energy out. Because you look at, I'll tell you, especially for those of you out there who are like myself and like to have a lot on the go. We like to be doing a lot. And then if you have other people in your life that you're responsible for, if you have kids, if you have, if you're managing big groups of people, or if you just have a lot of stuff that requires your energy and attention, you need to be able to be efficient with it. We need to be able to maximize what it is we're doing. And so I'm going to put in column A here, energy in. And in column B here, we're going to put energy out. All right, and then I'll ask some simple questions basically again. So like I'll ask basically, we'll put up an activity and you guys will tell me, do you think it's an energy in or energy out? So to answer, if we can just respond in the chat box for now, in or out basically, and we can, or my famous lovely answer that I love so much, depends. So let's start with something that's very important that I think so a lot of people underestimate, which is, actually let me ask you guys really fast, what do you think the first topic that I'm going to talk about that I think is super important that people underestimate? What activity do we do? I see Kelly with an answer coming up. I need some responses from you people. I don't see anybody typing. Eating, yes, eating is, but I'm not going eating yet. Something really important. Sleep. Annie, you got it. Sleep. Sleep is what we're going to talk about first. So is sleep energy in or is it energy out? In. Okay, so yeah, let's put sleep and energy in. What if you have kids, or if you have a dog, next door neighbor dog that keeps barking, or you just have a bad time sleeping? Kelly said energy out. Haha. Let's quantify this. This is a good sleep, and then crappy sleep will go on this side. So if you have a bad sleep, and sleep is so important. Why is it so in and out? But sleep is very important because a lot of stuff happens when we sleep, and it's a very important rest time, especially if you're taxing your nervous system physically, mentally, with a lot of stresses, with a lot of stuff, dreaming. We'll talk a little bit about dreaming, and so what you do, let's say I had a really good night's sleep. I went to bed, I slept well the whole night, I woke up feeling refreshed. Now, assuming that happened, I will wake up with a lot of energy, most likely like a full battery or almost a full battery, and I'll feel good and I'll have a lot of energy throughout my day. But if I had a very choppy sleep, because apparently when every time I'm sleeping beside anyone, I snore, apparently. It's their word against mine. And so I get woken up a lot. And I know that those mornings when I wake up, I don't feel as good. And I know for those of you who have kids or whatever, sometimes just the stresses that keep you up at night and anxieties, and we don't realize that what reasons are keeping us up. But getting an awesome night's sleep is very, very key, very important. And one of the key things, I'll throw you a quick tip for getting a good night's sleep, because the way our mind works is that like whatever I'm focused on as I'm falling asleep, so the last few moments before bedtime, where my attention goes is where my unconscious mind is going to loop all night. It's going to be affecting what my unconscious mind is doing all night. And so if I take charge of where my attention goes in the middle of the night, right as I'm falling asleep, so do some kind of relaxation stuff. Shut the TV off before bed. Shut the like anything negative. Don't start to infect your consciousness with all that kind of stuff so close to going to bed. And maybe take a couple of very restorative yin or restorative poses, or some massage work, some massage your feet. How long before going to bed? I would say at least the hour before going to bed should be a wind down time. And everyone has their thing that brings them down to a relaxed place. So it's like, who am I to say what relaxes you? So do something though that's more of a positive nature, and if even at least a half hour before bed, a couple of mild stretches, get some of the tensions out, and then as you get into bed, the good positive thing is to kind of go through a few things that you're appreciative of in your life, or people that you're appreciative of, or even just how good it feels to slide into that bed, and get into that feeling. It's all about the feeling at the end of the day. And so, and then you can do some kind of breathing relaxation exercises, just some deep breaths to relax. Harvard sleep study school, or whatever they're called there, they recommend just kind of going through and relaxing every part of your body. So you start, let's say, at your feet, and you consciously release your toes, and then your feet, and then your ankles, and then you work your way up slowly, the calves, the knees. And I know for me, and a lot of people I know have tried it, they barely make it past their waist before they're asleep. And at the same time, they get to the last thing that they're focused on before falling asleep is relaxation, and specifically relaxing tension and relaxing their mind body, and so that they take that into their consciousness as they're falling through the different brain waves. And because one of the brainwave states that you fall through as you're falling asleep is theta, which is the hypnotic state. And the hypnotic state is like, so where your unconscious mind, which is what's governing all this stuff, the programs in your unconscious mind. So your unconscious mind is very susceptible to suggestion at that moment. Does that make sense to everybody? Say yeah. I want you all like raising your hands up though. Yeah, say yeah. Don't. That's just silly. Okay, well, it's kind of fun. But somebody has a raised hand. Chantal. Oh, you're raising your hand. Okay, sorry. I'm still new to the system. Okay, and then or you can focus on, some kind of a positive affirmation, like if there's a specific pattern in your life that you're trying to focus on, maybe it's a fear of something that you're trying to focus on, or a visualization of something that you're, if someone has a fear of, let's say, public speaking, they can visualize themselves falling to sleep in front of a podium, looking out into the audience, going through that scenario, but infusing more positive feelings with it. So sleep can go into either category. What you do before your bedtime is important. Try to relax a little bit, cut the TV out, cut anything negative out, I should say. Don't pride yourself on watching the news at night before going to bed. Fair? Next topic. Okay, someone mentioned eating, and I really think eating is a very important topic. So let's say, is eating energy in or energy out? Folks at home, this is where you chime in. In. Catherine, depends. I love the depends. It's always really depends. So let's dissect that a little bit. If I'm eating healthy, nutritious food, then it's energy in. If I'm eating all of this foods with that are giving me nutrients and minerals and all the stuff that I need for energy and metabolism and everything, then yes, energy in. But if I'm eating crappy food, I like the word crappy, by the way. If I'm eating crappy, and you guys are going to get an email with this exact PDF afterwards, and you'll see crappy food there, and you'll remember that I mentioned this in the conversation, which is being recorded for later views. Anyway, so if I'm eating crappy food that has a lot of calories, but doesn't have a lot of nutrients, then my body, because you got to remember nutrition, next to sexual reproduction, is one of the processes that takes most energy in your system. And so nutritious, did I spell it wrong? Please don't judge me on my spelling. I need spell check for everything. That public school system in Ottawa. Anyway, so crappy food is going to drain your energy. And about the food thing, I'm not someone who, like, I enjoy life. I like to taste foods, and the whole, you know, I'm not supposed to eat this, I'm not supposed to eat this. Well, here's the thing. I like to live by the 80-20 rule, and sometimes, you know, less than 80, but 80-20, 80% of the time, eat the foods that you need and that your body and mind need to be healthy and create good, healthy chemicals. And then the rest of the time, eat whatever you want for the most part, and it just, you know, not all the time, right? And, you know, obviously everybody's different too when it comes to food, and that's the other thing that I think, you know, I recently and 5 years ago as well did what they call an IgG test. I'll write that down here in the chat box. IgG or food sensitivity test, basically, and you can go to some doctors and naturopaths. You can get it done at other health practitioners. And what it does is it tests you on all sorts of different foods and see what's healthy for you specifically and what may not be healthy for others. And all of us are different. So for me, I've had to cut out a lot of foods for a certain period of time, a lot of the foods that I love dearly. But now I can have them, but just in smaller amounts, not as staples. And that affects everything. You know, when your food level or when you're eating stuff that's very hard on your system and it's taxing your nervous system and it's taking away energy and it's weakening your immune system and it's taking away from your focus and it's making your body feel more tense, all that stuff happens. So by eliminating that stuff that you know is specifically not so good for you, and just maybe having it every once in a while, or you know, if you decide to eliminate it completely, good for you. But you know, just how what we eat greatly affects it, and not just what, but the food sources. Where are we getting our foods? What's in the foods? You know, and I don't want to get into all that discussion because it's a big topic. It's a 10-year workshop in and of itself. But you know, just putting some effort into where we get our foods and all that kind of stuff. And here's one more thing I'll say quickly about food. If I say I shouldn't eat a certain food, okay, I shouldn't eat this, that means that there's a little monkey inside my brain that's saying all I want to do is eat this, all I want to do is eat this, all I want to do is, because it says I can't. And so I don't say you shouldn't or you can't, but start to limit and start to slowly and find other places that you can get enjoyment out of, other foods that can bring you the feeling. It's all about the feeling. The tastes bring feelings. So find other foods that can satisfy, that are healthier for you specifically. But here's the thing: if you're enjoying the food, okay. So like as an example, a can of pop is probably, you know, as far as raising your acidity level in your body, which is not really healthy for you for a lot of reasons. One of the things that you can ingest that will raise it up the most. And so it's not a really great thing to have all the time. But if you are feeling negative, like guilty or shameful about having that can of pop, it's actually 3 to 4 times worse as far as raising your acidity level. So a negative feeling or thought is worse than a can of pop for that very reason. So I'm not saying go out and buy yourself a case of Coke and keep it around and drink and shove it down, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of sugar, it's a lot of this, a lot of that. But 80-20. And don't feel guilty about the time that you do it. Enjoy it. Get into the joy feeling of it. Joy is a very powerful feeling, a very energizing feeling. When you're feeling joy, you're not feeling low energy. Show me someone who is feeling joyful and is like this. You know, it doesn't happen that way. Good feelings bring you up. And that's a big topic of conversation. I think that's the third seminar in this series that we're talking about power versus force. The negative feelings are energy drainers, and then the positive feelings are energy in stuff. They're drawing energy in. And so like all of the negative stuff like guilt, shame, fear, anxiety stuff, all of that stuff is and even anger and frustration and boredom, all of that is a drain. And so we'll talk a little bit more at the end of this about learning to manage that kind of energy a little bit more. But get into the joy feeling of it if you're going to have that cheesecake, which I'm actually not supposed to eat right now because it's on my food sensitivity list. But, you know, Christmas is coming around. So 80-20. Next topic. Exercise. Energy in or energy out? Annie says in. Kelly says out. Dennis says in. Well, I think we're kind of split down the middle here, but I'm going to put them right now in both sides. Okay, so exercise, let me tell you one thing about exercise, or a couple of things. One, there's not one formula out there for everybody, and too many people try to subscribe to this kind of like, you know, we get on a lot of bandwagons, and everybody wants to push themselves the same amount and do the same types of exercises, and we compare ourselves to everyone else. Exercise, a lot of exercise in the moment is using energy to gain energy later if done properly and if met with the right rest and nutrition and all that other stuff. And yeah, it also depends very much on Chantal. Right, if you're not, there's a lot of factors that would come into whether it's an energy in or energy out. If I'm enjoying the exercise, it's energy in. Like if I really enjoy what I'm doing, it could be very energy in. If I'm doing it too much or too hard or overtraining, that's energy out, because there's that point of diminishing returns where too much of a good thing starts to suck energy out. And a lot of people either do too much or not enough, and not enough to do kind of the right balance of the right amount of work with the right amount of rest, with the right amount of sleep, with the right amount of food, with the right amount of good feeling, with the right amount of focus, with the right amount of work, the right amount of, the right amount of. And so exercise can be both the right amount and the right exercise. But when you feel like you have to be beat up or you have to throw up to get a good exercise, when you feel drained of your energy at the end of a workout or at the end of your yoga practice, which a lot of these days I see, people just drained of their resources. Well, think of this. You use up so much of your resources, and then you have to rebuild. There's all that breakdown, and now you have to rebuild. Now it's going to take you longer to recoup, but most of you won't wait long enough for that. So you'll start doing exercise the next day again, and just tearing away at your body and getting injured. And maybe not eating the right healthy foods and the right supplements, and maybe not getting the right amount of sleep because you got stresses in your life, and maybe not, you know, look at some of the athletes out there when they're going through the stresses in their life and how that affects their performance. And look at that, in the corporate industry. I've worked in a lot of corporations, and you see like the CEOs and the managers or the leaders in the government, or even, you know, or even leaders of nations, when they have so much energy out, they have so much responsible for, but they realize that they cannot neglect their own energy in. Right? So, and the idea here is like, we have to be a little more smart and listen and feel. You know, when I go to a yoga class, how am I feeling today? Am I feeling 100%? If I'm feeling 100%, I'll go 90% in my intensity level, in my workout or my practice. If I'm feeling 70%, I'm going to go 65% intensity level. Maybe a little bit in a part of it, but not, not that much. So, and when you back off and you still have room for your breath and you still can focus instead of grunting your face and trying to lift everything off your head and squeezing everything and draining yourself, you leave the workout with more energy, with still more energy, warrior's code, always more left over for another day. And so that, you can actually get the long-term health benefits from it. So exercise, and then do stuff that you enjoy. If running down the street or on a treadmill you don't enjoy it, if you think you're doing it just because it has to be because you want to be healthy, then do something else. And don't just jump into things so quickly. Like if you decide you want to run a marathon, not next month, build up slowly over time. Let your body adapt to those kinds of stresses. And then it could be an energy in. Then you can build up. You can see people build up to our body adapts. It adapts quite well if we're nice to it, if we're patient with it, if we treat it well. All right, next topic. Yoga. I'm going to separate that from exercise. Is it energy in, energy out? And I'm talking about the mat practice right now, not yoga as a general practice. And he says in, yin yang, in for spirituality. Barbara says out. Well, again, it depends on my intent. Even like, why am I getting onto this mat? Is it because I want to show off and learn how to do arm bouncing poses to make other people think I'm cool? Because pride is an energy out. It's in the lower half of the power spectrum. There's one thing to have a pride of a job well done, but wanting to needing that validation from others. But if I'm going onto the mat as an introspective practice to develop, to grow, to expand, to become more aware, that's another thing. So yoga for the right reasons. And again, it doesn't have to be so acrobatic. I know I used to teach classes in a quite intense way, and I would like in essence like kill people in the class. Like they were like wiped out by the time they would leave. And now I don't. And a lot of people who have come to my classes from a long time ago, they say I've softened up a little bit. And yes, I've softened up because I care. I care that I want people to leave with the health benefits of this practice. All right. Meditation, I don't think really we need to discuss that. I would say meditation, if you're patient with it, is an energy in. But if you're getting frustrated, then it's energy out. And meditation, it can frustrate people at the beginning because because they put too many there's assumptions about it that are not true. You don't have to clear your mind when you're meditating. That's almost impossible. I know some people maybe are walking around without anything there, but any kind of focus in is going to be really good. And you can focus on your breath, or you can focus on your navel, or you can focus on a bright light in your heart center or whatever. There's 1,000 types of meditations, but really it's like a one-pointed focus. Or like narrowing your focus to one point, or to a visualization, or to a broader field, but having a point of focus that you keep coming back to. You just keep coming back to whatever that point of focus is whenever you realize you're distracted. So let go of the frustration that comes up, and just, okay, I'm focused here, my mind goes off, oh, I'm off somewhere now, okay, come back here. Up, come back here, and learning how to drive and direct your energy and your attention like that, because energy and attention are one, right? Where my attention's going is where my energy's going. So learning how to focus my attention, let's say when I'm doing work, or when I'm interacting with someone, or when I'm, whatever it is I'm doing, then instead of my energy and attention going to a lot of different places all the time, now I'm narrowing it down, narrowing my focus. so that I'm not leaking everywhere, you know, so, and it's like, it's like multitasking. The more you multitask it at once, the less effective it is and the less efficient it is. The more you stick to what it is you're doing, finish that, then move on to the next thing, the more effective you are and the more energy effective you are. So there's a couple of other things where I don't want to, and there's like, we can talk about a lot of things. I mean, energy in, energy out, it's all through our day. What I want you to get out of most of what we're saying here, though, is the big thing is the feeling component of it. When I'm feeling good, or I don't say good and bad, when I'm feeling it positive, when I'm in the higher realms, you can look up the Power versus Force, Dr. David Hawkins' book. It's a really amazing book. I'll email a couple of great books with this, or maybe I'll put them at the bottom when we send out this PDF. But it's when you're feeling good, when you're enjoying your work, for instance, when you're in love with your work. I mean, look at anybody who is passionate about what they do. When you're passionate about what you do, just think about in your life, anybody you've known that is passionate what they do. They're probably doing a hell of a lot. They're probably going 7 days a week, you know, all hours a day, having their hands and feet in everything, and not burning out. They're not running on adrenaline and running on burnout. They're running from a different place. It's a different place of power. It's not a place of force, it's a place of power. And you can see these people go and go and go and go and still have all the energy left over for everything else that they're doing. And they bring that love not just into their work, but into all their other aspects, hopefully. And so that's the big thing. It's the feeling component. So while I'm doing my work, if I'm feeling good, I'm going to feel more energized. While I'm interacting with my family, if I'm feeling good and appreciating them and having a good time, I'm going to feel more energized. You know, and I see that in parents who are enjoying their bringing up their kids, even though there's not having everything run the way they exactly want them, but they're enjoying all the mishaps. They feel good, and the people who are stressed out about all those details are wiped out. And it's the same thing for everybody. Throughout your day, where's your energy going? Am I leaking it out into a lot of stresses? Or am I calmer and more relaxed and finding the joy in all the little things that I can do? Which it's going to be a weave in and out for myself included, and for anyone who teaches this stuff or been practicing it for a while. It's a weave in and out, and there's some days when you have too much taxing your nervous system all at once, and you may not be able to quite be conscious about bringing yourself down. And, you know, don't feel bad about that. That's just another part of life. You know, it's about, and let go of the negative feelings. The whole letting go of negative feelings, letting go, resisting our experiences and being tight in our experiences is a huge part. So letting go is an activity that we all need to learn to do, letting go. And it's one of the reasons why I love Yin Yoga so much, because it's one of the key central components of the practice, at least the way I understand it. Is definitely like, you know, when things happen, sometimes they're out of our control, and as they're happening, we can tense up and contract and resist and get into negative, or we can relax and be a little more focused and see what it is we need to see a little more clearly and respond without a reaction, but more of a conscious effort. And so it comes down all the time to being more conscious and present, which is the key central teaching in yoga, and most, if not all, spiritual practices, about being present. The essence of all of it. So learning to let go and learning to direct your energy into better feeling places, and then that you know, the letting go component in also includes forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really great way to draw that energy back in, learning to really forgive. And it doesn't necessarily mean having to say the words to the person or being in contact with the person, because sometimes those people may not necessarily be in our life, but to be able to cut those cords of that are leaking both of our energy out and regain that energy back in is a huge energy in practice. You know, holding on to grudges is gonna drain your energy fast. And another thing that really is an energy in practice, and I'm touching on it really, really fast because we're coming to the end of our program, and I wanted to save a little bit of time for any kind of questions. The honor thy word, which is probably one of the hardest ones, and one of the hardest ones, I believe, for myself it's been, and even though my intent is to fully live it, and not honoring my word or going against it is totally an energy drain. All that. Those last two. The thing about letting go and forgiveness, and the thing about honoring your word, to me, are really big on that scale. Bigger than all the other stuff. As important as sleep is, as important as food is, as important as exercise is, as important as another one I'd like to put in this is healthy relationships of all sorts. That's an energy, and spending time with these people, not getting too busy with life and spending time with these people that love us. That's very, very important. And we can underestimate that, but at the end of the day, that those connections make more of importance than any of this stuff. So what I'd like to do right now is just kind of open this up to any questions. If you do want to ask a question and you want to be live on the camera here, we can bring you up on the screen. So I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, or healthy boundaries with others. Yes, it's very important. Boundaries, healthy boundaries. Let's put that one up. Chantal, are you asking a question, or did you want to ask a question? Did you have your hand up? Catherine wants to ask a question. So I'm going to enable your mic and video. Healthy boundaries is a really great, so now, Catherine, if you want to ask the question, you have to start your video and audio at the top with the green button, the white and green buttons. A healthy boundaries means that not letting people overstep what is comfortable for you and not letting their will be exerted on your will. And so it means stepping up for yourself and letting people know that, hey, you're overstepping your boundaries here. You're starting to take my energy. I'm not going to let that happen, right? Boundaries is a really broad thing because it's in how we let other people interact with us, and it's a very, very huge topic. Very, very, very important. Yes, it is very. One thing it's one thing, especially I feel like maybe as Canadians sometimes we feel like we don't we tend to be we tend to be a little passive about our boundaries, and I think being more honest about it is more authentic and saying, hey, no, you're overdoing, you're encroaching on my territory here. Back off a little bit. You don't have to approach it aggressively. Just stand your ground energetically. Calm assertiveness, what's his name? Cesar Millan likes to talk about there, the dog whisperer. It's the same thing when you're dealing with people, a calm assertiveness. Because if we react and get jumpy about it, it could set them off. So, Catherine, I'm not sure if you were trying to get on audio or not, but if you have a question, maybe just type it out on the screen. I hope you guys found a lot of this helpful. The next two workshops coming up are, one is about really learning to let go in the different components of our life and some great tools on how to do so. And then the second one is more on the power versus force topic. And that's kind of, one of my favorite topics because it also applies to the feeling component of it all. Catherine, I think, had one second, let me read this. Still have no voice for being sick, okay. So just wondering, what is the best way to maintain energy while in university? It's keeping positive, not getting stressed since it's super stressful, overwhelming. Yeah, university is a stressful time, and had they taught us in high school or an elementary school, I should say, had they taught us in elementary school, and even starting from kindergarten, how to manage our energy and breathing, like all this stuff should be taught. And it shouldn't be a 12-week program that I offer in our adulthood to learn this stuff. Had we learned how to deal with our energy and deal with our emotions and express our emotions in a healthy way from a younger age, if we were taking the time to be emotionally matured, because that's what it comes down to, directing your energy or learning to manage your energy is being emotionally mature. It's learning, and with time and practice, because there's some reactions that come out. I know this for a fact from personal experience, that, you know, like reactions can come out, and it's about allowing yourself to be a human, coming out and setting it right and redirecting that energy. So when you're in university and there's a lot of stuff going on, it's especially when you're busy. Back to the whole meditation thing. Oh, one thing we did not mention here, sorry, very off topic, but not on, is water, hydration. I cannot stress to you how important it is to start your day off with a glass of water, hydrogenated water if you can, or at least some water with a little bit of lemon in it. And to be drinking a lot of water throughout your day. Very, 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 very vital for your energy level, for your health, for everything. So when you're in university, or let's say you have a job that's very stressful, when you're most busy, when you sacrifice those energy in practices, so start your day off with a 5 to 15 minute breathing meditation or breathing exercise, deep breathing, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's very energy in. Or any kind of practice that draws your focus inwards and brings you to a calm point. And so it's kind of important to take those, you know, like, so if I start my day off with energy in, so I wake up in the morning, not flustered and fast and having to rush out, but I start my day off, I go to the bathroom, I take a couple of stretches, I sit down, I, you know, maybe do 5 minutes of deep breathing or 10, 15 minutes of some kind of a relaxing meditation, and then I eat and I go off to my day. And then later on throughout my very busy day, I notice that I'm all over the place. I take 3 to 5 minutes again in a quiet place. If it's in the toilet, then that's the only place you can get that quiet place, then do it there. And you take that and you reboot your computer. Change your brain physiology. Get back into rest and relaxation for a little bit. That, you know, if you're in fight or flight or sympathetic nervous system all day, energy out all day, blood in the extremities all day, then your resources in your midsection, your immune system, your growth functions, your regenerative functions, all of that taking a back seat, and energy out, energy out, energy out. So if you can take a moment and focus in and draw energy in and recharge your battery, even for 5 minutes, do one of those energy in exercises. Go for a 10-minute brisk walk outside, you know, do something that brings you to a point of laughter. Change your brain physiology. You know, do a few sun salutations at your desk, whatever it is you need to do. But don't neglect those energy in practices, because guaranteed, 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 they will help keep you relaxed and focused. And when you find yourself getting stressed, when you find yourself getting upset about something, the letting go practices that we'll go through next week, all of that will help you. You know, it'll help you. You know, get you keep your energy in the right places, and you know what? The more your energy is in the right places, the better it is you're going to sleep at night already, without even, you know. So it's all one big circle. The better sleep gives you more energy, and all those other exercises give you more energy. But the more energy you have, the better you're going to sleep at night anyway, and it's going to be a lot better. So. I hope that answers your question a little bit. The hardest part when we're in fight or flight is that when we're in fight or flight, the blood vessels in our forebrain, where our conscious efforts are, our conscious mind, the blood vessels constrict and the blood goes into the hindbrain. So a lot of the resources are going back here to our animal brain, and where our patterns are and our habits are. And so it's important to, you know, have our reminders, things that remind us to come back to a more conscious place and take a few deep breaths. Yeah, and good energy will definitely inspire others too, and you'll see that in as a ripple effect, because our nervous system, our heart, right, your heart has an electromagnetic field that radiates 3 to 8 feet outside of your body, depending on the person. And as you have negative feelings, or negative feelings, it distorts that field, and people will pick up on that on an unconscious level, even if they don't pick up on it consciously. And so, if you ever walked into a room and already you know that, wow, things are tense in here, and you're not really quite sure why yet, but you just feel it. And so, and it can affect a negative feeling can distort your field for quite a long time as well. So, I usually stay away from people who are very negative. No, I'm just kidding. But you can affect, you're in charge of your own energy inside, right? How you feel is a choice when you're conscious of it, and a habit when it's just lost, when you're lost in pattern. And that's the key. And we are very much a big part unconscious processes, unconscious people, or unconscious animals. But we also have the ability, unlike animals, we also have that conscious part of us that we need to develop more. And meditative practices like yoga and qigong and tai chi help that. But also just becoming more conscious in your everyday life. So when you're at work, this is going to help you out. When you're at work, be focused here. When your energy goes to other places and you get distracted, bring it back. That's your meditation now. When you're with people interacting, be here, focused with them. When your attention goes to other places, let this be your meditation now. Whatever it is you're doing, be here. I mean, I see parents who spend all day at work and then come home and spend half their time on their iPhone or BlackBerry, and their kids just want some of their attention and playtime. So it's directing your focus is a big part of managing your energy. Mental focus is a big part of it. All right. Well, I hope you really enjoyed the practice. We will be in touch with you soon with the link, and with this, I'll take a little picture of this and send it to you guys as well. We have some. What we're going to do, I haven't really told. I didn't introduce Kelly. She's in the background. Kelly, I don't know if you want to get your camera on. Kelly joined on as a partner with myself with everything that we're doing here, and she's also going to be working with myself and Mike at Homeschooled, and we're really excited to have her on board because she is helping manage all this stuff, and we have a lot of fun projects coming up. Wait for some big stuff. And for those of you who came to this workshop and signed up, what we'll do is if you want to take one of the next couple of workshops coming up, we'll send you out the deals, but we'll give you 50% off the workshop that's coming up next week if you refer somebody. And if you refer 2 people, you get it for free. And they're really awesome topics, and you're not going to want to miss them. This is just scratching the surface. We have to dive more into it. So we will send you all that information. But you heard me right. So if you refer 1 person, you get it for 50% off. If you refer 2 people, you come in for free. Hope to see you guys all soon. We're trying to figure out this online system more, so bear with us with some of the technical difficulties. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Remember to don't forget your energy in practices. It's really, really important. And also, especially if you have kids, because then you're modeling, you're their model. And what they see you do in their first 6 to 8 years of life, they're going to end up doing most likely too. So be their model. If you can't do it enough for yourself, for self-worth of yourself, do it for them. Love you all, and hope to see you all again soon. And cheers.